TikTok fined for not interfering with children, Unity unleash hell on themselves with their new pricing model, and Unicode's new emoji is shaking heads. I'm Dan, and this is, news? If you thought that the only thing to come out of GDPR so far has been turning visiting a website into a game of cookie whack-a-mole, then prepare to have your beliefs challenged, because the infamous EU regulation just got used to beat TikTok into submission with a $367 million fine for playing fast and loose with children's data stored on the platform. Ireland's Data Protection Commission, or DPC, announced the €345 million gut punch on Friday following their 2021 investigation into TikTok's GDPR compliance. So, just what did ByteDance and friends do or not do to evoke such wrath from the Eurozone? Well, firstly, the near total failure to carry out age verification to prove users are over 13. That doesn't sound too terrible, right? Who hasn't clicked on the "you must be over 18" button in their youth at least once? So stupid, but at least approaching the bounds of understandable. So let's up the ante.
You raise, and I raise this.
How about setting all accounts to fully public by default on sign-up, irrespective of age? So literally, any user can see everything any child does, including posts, stitches, comments, and plenty of other useful tracking resources for ne'er-do-wells.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
Okay, pretty gross, but you can still just about see how that kind of thing can happen, can't you? Right?
Kind of.
What you mean, kind of?
Kind of.
In an attempt to appease regulators, they rightly introduced account linking or family pairing on kids' accounts, so parents can control usage and privacy settings, including turning DMs on and off for over 16s. Sounds great, right? Except they decided it was, too costly to bother putting in proper checks to see if the linked adult is actually their parent or guardian, turning a man's safeguard into an open back door.
Of course, the back door.
But as well as internet regulations, what else is the EU famous for? Any guesses? Anyone at all? Of course, bureaucracy at the speed of continental drift.
Attention Hermes Conrad, you are about to receive a letter from the central bureaucracy. My God, it's from the central bureaucracy!
Which led to this eyebrow-raising slapback from Team TT. We respectfully disagree with the decision, particularly on the level of the fine imposed. The DPC's criticisms are focused on features and settings that were in place 3 years ago, and that we made changes to well before the investigation even began, such as setting all under 16 accounts to private by default. So if this is the case, and also that people in the EU must have been aware that these changes had mostly been implemented before the release of the investigation, add to that the fact that €345 million actually only represents about 0.5% of their total value in 2023, does make me wonder, maybe this is just the EU looking for clout on social media. Oh well, at least it's more original than their theme song. By now, anyone who follows tech and gaming news will already know about the truly cataclysmic shitstorm raining down on Unity towers right now. But to catch you up if that story's passed you by, a few days ago, Unity Technologies, the company behind the game engine behind Cuphead, Among Us, Fall Guys, Beat Saber, and probably 90% of the indie games you've ever played, decided to disrupt the industry by announcing a revolutionary new pricing model for developers and studios based on the number of installs over a certain threshold, not the simple royalty cut on actual sales offered by their main competitor, Unreal Engine from Epic Games. And unsurprisingly, this hasn't gone down with, anyone except the folks at Epic, I guess. Several developers have gone on the record saying that keeping the game running will bankrupt their business in months, possibly even less than that. If, like me, when I first skimmed this story over my morning coffee, thought that this all sounds just a little bit extreme, it really, really isn't. And in the unlikely event that this entire thing hasn't been backpedaled out of existence by the time I post this story, allow me to explain why. So, an install of a game isn't actually the same as a purchase. Let's say I install a Unity-based game on my PC, but after a while I decide I need to delete it to make space for something else. When I've got more space, I then go ahead and reinstall it, and then I realise I'm so into it that I go and put a copy on my office PC for lunchtime. And before you ask, yes, that is a thing. I used to do that when I worked in a game studio, and I was far from the only one. Even though I personally only bought it once, the developers are now charged for all 3 installations. It's like Amazon charging Parker Brothers every time you open your box of Monopoly. And if that wasn't bad enough, think about free-to-play games. Even if you never spend a single penny on that game and don't watch a single advert, the developers still have to pay Unity for every single player that downloads it. Oh, and there's no mention of anything they plan to do to filter out pirated copies, as of course that would be less profitable. Quick update, literally as I record this. Things have gotten so heated that Unity have had to cancel their planned IRL town hall with staff and closed multiple offices due to credible death threats. Sorry, I don't know why I'm smiling at that. That's actually quite horrific. This all has clearly kicked off the predicted backpedaling I mentioned about a minute ago. So, as it stands at time of filming, Unity will still be going ahead with the charge, but it will no longer include demos or Wait, it originally included demos? Seriously? What? Seriously, how many Class A's does it take to think that kind of a prize-winning strategy up? Jesus Christ. So I woke up to some developments on this story. That's why this news is so breaking. I'm still in my morning robe and chugging the coffee. Excuse me, folks. That's delicious. Anyway, amazing new changes to the story, it seems, that no one seems to be picking up on yet, except this one story I found on xfire.com. It's the kind of thing, your first thought is, this feels like they're trying to tank the company on purpose or something. And then you think, nah, that can't be true, can it? So I've been looking around, and yeah, according to xfire.com, Unity executives, including the CEO, sold shares prior to the recent controversial announcement. It looks like there's a very good chance what's actually gone on here is this pricing announcement was supposed to be terrible. It was supposed to try and tank the company because, a lot of the people on the board have been selling off their shares. Here, according to an earlier report by Guru Focus, the top Unity officials sold multiple shares days before the official runtime fee announcement. John Riccitello, president and CEO of Unity Software Inc., sold 2,000 shares, each of which was worth $40 on the 6th of September, just 6 days before the runtime fee announcement. In fact, over the past year, he sold 50,610 and bought none. And that would kind of infer it was reasonably deliberate. We've also got Tomer Bar-Ziv, CEO of IronSource. I don't know why I said his name like that. I was attempting some kind of Hebrew pronunciation. It failed miserably. Don't blame me. He offloaded 37,500 on September the 1st. Shlomo Dovrat, co-founder of Viola Ventures and a Unity board member, also made a substantial sale at the end of August, parting with 68,454 shares. Basically, they shed $2.5 million worth of shares just before this announcement that they themselves were in charge of making and agreeing the deadlines on. I'm not saying it was insider trading, but I'm not saying it doesn't look like insider trading either. Take from that what you will. Anyway, back to the real video. Bye, I'm gonna wake up now. Okay, so devs aren't gonna have to pay for demos and reinstalls, but it will still, however, include charges on multiple device installs. Oh, and all-you-can-eat subscription services like Xbox Game Pass. So this is definitely just the opening gambit in what will without a doubt be a spectacularly cringeworthy game. Christmas is coming early for your DMs, posts, and infinitely fragmented family WhatsApp groups, courtesy of pictographic gatekeepers and totally not the name of the evil corporation in
your favorite sci-fi show,
the Unicode Consortium. Keeping up with our need to boil every expression down to as few motions as possible, the team that literally wrote the book that defines text on computers are adding no less than 118 new emojis, emoji, emojiums, Emojot. Emoji no the people.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it! Get on with it!
While Unicode set the agenda, they're not the designers. That'll be up to device manufacturers and software developers to figure out, in much the same way that while Unicode defines the reference code for each letter, it doesn't define the font. So, you want to know what the Hot 118 are? Well, here's a mock-up from Emojipedia. Firstly, and probably most usefully, is the new Shake My Head. A good old-fashioned nope that we can use beyond the classic, along with its partner, the either far less distinct or multicultural variant. Seriously, feel free to educate me in the comments on that one. I have no idea. Of a vertical head shake. I do feel, though, if we're going to go that deep with emoji, then it really should have also included the Indian head wobble. And for once, that's genuinely not even sarcasm. It's an obviously glaring omission. But for reasons beyond me, they felt it much more important to leave room for a fiery phoenix emoji. Maybe Unicode are just really into Harry Potter still? Beyond that, there's also new entries for a lime, a mushroom, a broken chain, which the web nerd in me is very happy about, multiple variants of the family icons to be more inclusive, and finally, 6 pre-existing people emojinations that only face right can now face left too. Yeah, that's right, that's your left. Just checking. Now, the astute mathematicians among you have probably spotted that that's a lot less than the 100 plus that you're reading in the Chiron down there. And you'd be right. Not even the creators of standards can resist a little bit of clickbaiting. Because once you take into account the skin tone and gender options, anything with a human in it gets multiplied by 15. And suddenly, that giant number of 100 plus seems a lot more sensible. But when can you expect to start wielding fiery birds and right-facing runners? Well, that's between you and your service providers, but typically we're talking months. So sadly, I have to take back what I said at the top of this story. Christmas probably won't be coming early for your DMs, but as for when it will come... And that's another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to host you as always. Please do make sure you like, subscribe, add a comment, all the things that make the algorithm happy and put me closer to a course of being able to actually make some money off of this thing, which would be nice. In the meantime, you have yourself a fabulous day, night, or whatever else, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.